The reconnaissance mission had gone flawlessly until Captain Rodriguez realized they were walking into a kill zone. His Delta Force Alpha team had spent 18 hours gathering intelligence on enemy weapons caches in the abandoned industrial district, photographing supply routes, and counting personnel. Now, as Rodriguez crouched behind rusted machinery in what used to be a textile factory courtyard, he understood why their target had been so lightly defended. The real trap lay in the surrounding buildings. Rodriguez keyed his radio twice, signaling his 5 operators to freeze their positions. Through his binoculars, muzzle flashes sparked from 12 different elevated positions. Church bell tower, water treatment plant roof, apartment building windows, grain silo catwalks. Every strategic high point within 800 meters held at least one hostile with a clear field of fire into the courtyard where Alpha Team found themselves exposed. If you've ever been in a situation where everything seemed under control until suddenly it wasn't, you know that moment when your training kicks in and time seems to slow down. Maybe you're from a military family or live near a base where you've heard these stories. The split second when professionals realize they're outmaneuvered is when their real character shows through. The radio crackled with static as Rodriguez attempted to raise base command. Communications had been degrading for the past hour, atmospheric interference playing havoc with their satellite uplink. He tried 3 different frequencies before accepting the bitter truth that they were operating without support in hostile territory with no immediate extraction capability. Williams, their demolitions expert, had taken shrapnel across his left shoulder when the first sniper round shattered concrete near his position. Sergeant Chun, the team medic, low-crawled through debris to reach Williams while keeping one eye on the rooftop positions that commanded overlapping fields of fire. Chin's hands worked efficiently, applying pressure bandages while counting muzzle flashes from their elevated adversaries. The tactical situation crystallized in Rodriguez's mind with brutal clarity. 12 confirmed hostile positions, possibly more. His team carried standard combat loads, enough ammunition for a running firefight, not a prolonged siege. The enemy held every advantage terrain could provide while Alpha Team occupied the worst possible position, trapped in open ground with minimal cover and no concealment from the surrounding high points. Chin finished treating Williams and belly-crawled back to Rodriguez, keeping below the concrete lip that provided their only protection from direct fire. Williams would survive his wounds, but he needed evacuation within hours, not days. The shrapnel had missed major arteries, but infection in this environment would become life-threatening without proper medical facilities. Rodriguez checked his watch and calculated timelines with a methodical precision that had kept him alive through 4 combat deployments. Standard extraction protocol placed the nearest helicopter 45 minutes away, assuming base command had received their last clear transmission. 45 minutes pinned down by superior numbers in elevated positions with a wounded teammate who needed immediate medical attention. Another sniper round sparked off steel girders above their position, the crack echoing through the abandoned factory complex. Rodriguez counted 12 seconds before the next shot, then 15, then 8. The enemy wasn't trying to hit them yet. They were establishing firing patterns, coordinating their positions, setting up for a systematic elimination of Alpha Team once their commander gave the order. Rodriguez lifted his radio one final time, broadcasting on the emergency frequency that would reach every friendly asset within range. His voice carried the controlled urgency of a professional soldier who understood exactly how desperate his situation had become. "We're trapped. Send everything you have." The words disappeared into static, carrying with them Alpha Team's last hope for conventional rescue. The abandoned factory courtyard fell silent, except for the distant sounds of the enemy repositioning in their elevated positions. Rodriguez looked at his 5 operators, all veterans of countless missions who had never found themselves this thoroughly outmaneuvered. Chun continued monitoring Williams, while the other 3 maintained watch on different sectors, their weapons trained on positions they couldn't effectively engage. Somewhere in the hills beyond the industrial complex, forces were moving that none of them knew about yet. But for now, Alpha Team faced the longest 45 minutes of their military careers, pinned down by an enemy that held every tactical advantage except one. They had no idea who might be watching them through a high-powered scope from the shadows of the surrounding terrain. 800 meters northwest of the factory complex, Elena Vasquez adjusted her scope's focus and counted muzzle flashes through the high-powered optics. 12 confirmed positions, exactly as she had calculated during her initial reconnaissance. Her ghillie suit blended perfectly with the rocky outcropping where she had established her hide site before dawn, invisible to both the trapped Delta Force team and their attackers. Officially, Sergeant Elena Vasquez served as a communications specialist attached to Forward Operating Base Mitchell, responsible for maintaining radio equipment and coordinating supply convoys. Her personnel file listed standard qualifications for signal operations, nothing that would indicate combat specialization. The classification stamps on her real service record remained buried beneath layers of compartmentalized security clearances that most base personnel would never see. Through her scope, Elena methodically cataloged each hostile position while calculating environmental factors with the precision of advanced ballistics training. Wind speed held steady at 8 knots from the southwest. Temperature differential between her elevated position and the factory floor measured 12 degrees. Atmospheric pressure remained stable. Each mathematical calculation filtered through years of specialized training that her cover assignment carefully concealed. 23 miles away at Forward Operating Base Mitchell, Colonel Patterson received Alpha Team's distress transmission through the static-filled emergency frequency. The communications center erupted into controlled urgency as radio operators attempted to re-establish contact, while Patterson mobilized every available asset for immediate response. Helicopter crews scrambled toward their aircraft, while intelligence officers pulled satellite imagery of the industrial district. Elena monitored the radio traffic through her encrypted communication device, tracking the rescue coordination with growing concern. Standard extraction protocol placed the nearest helicopter 41 minutes away from Alpha Team's position, factoring in flight time and tactical approach requirements. She calculated survival probabilities for 6 operators pinned down by superior numbers in elevated positions, with 1 wounded teammate requiring medical attention. The mathematics were unforgiving. Alpha Team possessed insufficient ammunition for sustained engagement against 12 elevated positions. Their defensive position provided minimal cover against coordinated fire from multiple angles. Medical evacuation requirements meant they could not attempt breakout maneuvers that might preserve ammunition but would worsen Williams's condition. 41 minutes exceeded their tactical survivability window by an unacceptable margin. Elena shifted her scope toward the water treatment plant, where she had identified what appeared to be the enemy command element. A figure in tactical gear moved between positions, coordinating the ambush through hand signals and radio communications. Taking out the command structure would disrupt their coordination, but engaging would compromise her cover assignment and violate her current operational parameters. Her orders placed her in the field as communication support, maintaining radio relay equipment for convoys traveling the mountain highway 3 kilometers from her current position. Engaging hostile forces fell outside her assigned mission parameters and would expose capabilities that her cover identity was specifically designed to conceal. Elena understood the consequences of unauthorized combat engagement, but she also understood what would happen to Alpha Team without immediate intervention. The enemy commander raised his weapon toward the factory courtyard, preparing to signal the coordinated assault that would eliminate the trapped Delta Force operators. Elena watched through her scope as 12 muzzles adjusted their aim toward positions where Rodriguez and his team sheltered behind inadequate cover. The timeline for decision had compressed to seconds rather than minutes. Elena chambered a match-grade round and adjusted her scope's elevation for an 847-meter shot to the bell tower position. Her breathing slowed to the controlled rhythm that separated professional marksmen from conventional soldiers, each breath calculated to maximize accuracy during the crucial moment between heartbeats when the crosshairs aligned perfectly with their target. The radio traffic from Base Command continued coordinating rescue assets that would arrive too late to matter. Elena's finger found the trigger guard as she made the decision that would end her carefully maintained cover assignment and expose the specialized capabilities she had spent 2 years concealing. Alpha Team needed immediate intervention, and she was the only friendly asset positioned to provide it. Through her scope, the enemy commander gestured toward his elevated positions, preparing to initiate the final phase of the ambush. Elena calculated wind drift one final time, adjusted for the slight upward angle of her shot, and prepared to engage targets that had no idea they were being observed by one of the military's most highly trained specialists. Her cover identity was about to be permanently compromised, but 6 lives hung in the balance, and Elena had never walked away from operators under fire. The first target never knew what hit him. Elena's first shot cracked across the industrial valley with the distinctive supersonic snap of a high-velocity round traveling at 2,800 feet per second. The 7.62 millimeter bullet covered 847 meters in less than a second, striking the hostile sniper in the church bell tower center mass and dropping him instantly from his elevated position. Rodriguez jerked his head toward the sound, recognizing the ballistic signature of precision rifle fire coming from somewhere in the hills northwest of their position. Through the factory courtyard, Alpha Team watched in stunned silence as the body tumbled from the bell tower, the sniper's weapon clattering against stone steps before disappearing into the shadows below. The crack echoed off concrete walls and steel girders, followed by an eerie silence that stretched across the abandoned industrial complex. Rodriguez raised his binoculars and scanned the rocky hillsides, searching for muzzle flash or scope reflection that would reveal their unexpected ally. The terrain offered countless concealment positions among boulder fields and scrub vegetation, making visual identification nearly impossible from their disadvantaged position in the courtyard. Elena had already shifted her aim toward the second target, a spotter positioned on the apartment building rooftop 692 meters from her hide site. Her calculations accounted for the decreased range and slight crosswind that had developed as the morning sun heated the valley floor. The hostile never realized his partner had been eliminated before Elena's second shot punched through his chest, sending him backward off the roof. The remaining enemy positions erupted into confused chatter as their coordinated ambush began falling apart. Hostile voices carried across the complex in urgent Arabic, demanding to know the source of the precision fire that had eliminated 2 of their elevated marksmen. Weapons swung toward potential sniper positions while their commander attempted to re-establish tactical control over an operation that had suddenly shifted against them. Rodriguez seized the opportunity, signaling Chun to move Williams toward better cover behind a concrete support pillar that would provide protection from multiple angles. Chun dragged the wounded demolitions expert across 15 meters of open ground, while the remaining hostiles focused their attention on locating the unknown sniper who had disrupted their carefully planned ambush. Elena adjusted her position slightly, maintaining concealment while acquiring her third target. The spotter in the water treatment plant tower represented the highest priority threat, positioned to coordinate fires from multiple directions against Alpha Team's defensive position. At 901 meters, the shot required compensation for increased bullet drop and wind drift, but Elena's scope adjustments reflected years of training at extreme ranges. The third shot eliminated the spotter as he attempted to direct fire toward the hillside, where he suspected the sniper might be concealed. His radio dropped from nerveless fingers, cutting off mid-transmission as he pitched forward over the tower railing. The remaining hostile positions now operated without their primary coordination element, reducing their effectiveness against both Alpha Team and their invisible protector. Rodriguez grabbed his radio and broadcast on the emergency frequency, his voice carrying a mixture of relief and confusion. Unknown friendly sniper engaging hostiles. Need identification of supporting assets in Sector 7 Alpha. The transmission reached Base Command clearly, adding another layer of complexity to an extraction operation that had suddenly developed an unplanned variable. At Forward Operating Base Mitchell, Colonel Patterson stared at the radio in bewilderment. His tactical display showed no friendly sniper assets deployed anywhere within 50 kilometers of Alpha Team's position. Intelligence officers scrambled to cross-reference special operations deployments, while Patterson demanded explanations for precision rifle fire that appeared to be saving his trapped operators from an impossible situation. The enemy commander's voice cut through radio chatter from his position near the grain silo, attempting to rally his remaining 9 marksmen for a coordinated search of the hillsides. Elena could hear the tension in his commands as he struggled to adapt to losses that had come without warning from an unknown direction. His tactical advantage was eroding with each precision shot that eliminated his elevated positions. Elena chambered her 4th round while observing the hostile response through her scope. The enemy had begun moving in search patterns, abandoning their fixed positions to hunt for the sniper who had killed 3 of their comrades. Their movement provided additional targeting opportunities, but it also meant they were adapting to the threat she represented rather than focusing exclusively on Alpha Team. Rodriguez coordinated his team's movement toward a more defensible position near the factory's loading dock, where concrete barriers would provide better protection against the remaining elevated positions. Williams remained conscious despite blood loss, his condition stable enough for tactical movement under Chen's careful supervision. The industrial complex had transformed from a carefully orchestrated kill zone into a confused battleground where the hunters had become hunted. Elena maintained her concealed position, tracking multiple targets while Alpha Team repositioned to take advantage of the tactical opportunity her intervention had created. 9 hostiles remained active, their coordination disrupted and their confidence shaken by an enemy they could not see or locate. Through encrypted radio channels, Base Command continued coordinating extraction assets while demanding explanations for the mysterious sniper support that had appeared without authorization or identification. Elena listened to the traffic while preparing for the extended engagement that would be necessary to keep Alpha Team alive until conventional rescue could reach their position. Elena abandoned her primary hide site and moved 200 meters southeast to a secondary position she had identified during her initial reconnaissance. The rocky depression provided concealment from multiple angles while maintaining clear fields of fire toward the factory complex, where Alpha Team struggled against the remaining 9 hostile positions. Her ghillie suit blended seamlessly with the scattered boulders and dried vegetation that covered the hillside. The enemy commander's voice crackled across radio frequencies as he attempted to rally his scattered forces, ordering a systematic search of the surrounding hills to locate the sniper who had eliminated 3 of his marksmen. Elena monitored their communications through her encrypted radio while tracking individual hostile movements through her scope, watching as panic transformed into organized counter-sniper tactics. Through the magnified optics, Elena identified a machine gun team that had established suppressing fire against Alpha Team's position from a 3rd-floor window in the apartment complex. The weapon's distinctive muzzle signature and rate of fire indicated a belt-fed system capable of maintaining sustained fire that would pin down Rodriguez and his operators indefinitely. At 1,247 meters, the shot required precise compensation for bullet drop and a slight upward angle toward the elevated target. Elena's 4th shot shattered the apartment window and eliminated the machine gunner instantly, the heavy weapon falling silent as his body slumped over the weapon system. The sudden cessation of suppressing fire allowed Alpha Team to move from their cramped defensive position behind concrete debris toward better cover near the factory's main structure. Rodriguez recognized the tactical opportunity immediately, raising his left arm in a series of deliberate gestures that would be visible to anyone observing through magnified optics. His signals followed standard military protocol for communicating with Overwatch elements, indicating Alpha Team's intended movement direction and requesting confirmation of safe routes through the industrial complex. Elena acknowledged the signals by adjusting her scope toward the path Rodriguez had indicated, scanning for threats that might intercept Alpha Team during their movement. Through careful scope manipulation, she directed their attention toward an abandoned administration building that would provide superior defensive positions, with multiple exit routes and better protection against the remaining elevated threats. The enemy commander adapted quickly to the sniper threat, splitting his remaining forces into three-man hunter teams tasked with locating and eliminating the unknown marksman. Elena watched through her scope as the teams moved in coordinated search patterns, advancing through the hills with tactical discipline that indicated professional military training rather than improvised militia tactics. One hunter team approached dangerously close to Elena's secondary position, their point man scanning the terrain with methodical precision while his teammates provided overwatch. Elena calculated range and wind factors for a 623-meter shot against a moving target advancing uphill through broken terrain. The ballistics required leading the target to compensate for his movement pattern and the crosswind that had intensified as thermal currents developed across the valley floor. Elena's fifth shot dropped the point man mid-stride, his weapon tumbling down the rocky slope as his body collapsed among the scattered boulders. The remaining two team members immediately took cover behind available terrain features, their urgent radio calls requesting reinforcements while reporting accurate sniper fire from an unknown position in the hills northwest of the factory complex. Rodriguez led Alpha Team toward the administration building Elena had indicated, moving in tactical formation while Chun provided medical support for Williams during the displacement. The wounded demolitions expert remained conscious and mobile despite blood loss, his condition stable enough for the tactical movement that would place them in a more defensible position. Elena's scope swept across the industrial complex, counting 7 remaining primary targets, while monitoring radio traffic that indicated additional hostile forces were responding to calls for reinforcement. The enemy communications revealed a coordinated effort to flood the area with personnel who would systematically search every concealment position until they located and eliminated the sniper who had disrupted their ambush. The tactical situation was evolving rapidly from a simple rescue operation into a complex engagement against unknown numbers of hostile reinforcements. Elena calculated ammunition expenditure against remaining threats while monitoring Alpha Team's movement toward their new defensive position. Her intervention had saved Rodriguez and his operators from immediate elimination, but the enemy's adaptation meant the engagement was far from over. Through encrypted channels, Elena heard base command coordinating extraction assets while demanding identification of the unknown sniper providing unauthorized support. Colonel Patterson's voice carried growing urgency as he struggled to understand how precision rifle fire had appeared without his knowledge in an operational area where no friendly assets were supposed to be deployed. Alpha Team reached the administration building and established defensive positions that would provide better protection against the remaining elevated threats. Rodriguez immediately began coordinating with base command while maintaining visual contact with the hillside, where their mysterious protector continued engaging hostile forces. Williams received additional medical attention from Chun, while the team prepared for whatever reinforcements might arrive to complicate their extraction. Elena chambered her 6th round and prepared for extended engagement against superior numbers. The enemy had identified her general area and was methodically closing the tactical net around her position. 7 confirmed targets remained active in the immediate area, with unknown additional forces responding to reinforce the hunt for the sniper who had turned their carefully planned ambush into a costly failure. Time was running short for both Alpha Team and their guardian angel hidden in the hills above the industrial complex. Colonel Patterson stared at his tactical display with growing frustration, cross-referencing every friendly asset within a 50-kilometer radius of Alpha Team's position. Special operations databases showed no sniper teams deployed, no Overwatch elements assigned, no precision marksmen authorized for operations in Sector 7 Alpha. Yet someone with advanced training was systematically eliminating hostile positions with shots that exceeded the capabilities of conventional infantry marksmen. Intelligence Officer Major Thompson pulled satellite imagery and personnel rosters while Patterson demanded explanations from his operations staff. The precision and consistency of the unknown sniper's engagement pattern indicated professional military training at the highest levels. But Thompson's initial database searches revealed no Special Forces elements operating anywhere near the industrial district where Alpha Team remained pinned down. Elena tracked a hostile fighter attempting to flank Alpha Team's new position, watching through her scope as he moved between abandoned vehicles in the factory's loading area. The target presented a challenging shot at 1,089 meters, moving in a regular pace while using available cover to mask his approach toward the administration building where Rodriguez had established defensive positions. Elena led the target by 2 meters, compensating for his movement speed and the crosswind that continued building across the valley floor. Her sixth shot caught the flanking hostile center mass as he emerged from behind a delivery truck, dropping him instantly and eliminating the immediate threat to Alpha Team's right flank. Rodriguez acknowledged the elimination with a brief hand signal before repositioning his operators to cover other potential approach routes. Thompson expanded his personnel search to include support elements and cover assignments, discovering that communications specialist Elena Vasquez was listed as operating radio relay equipment in the mountain region 3 kilometers from Alpha Team's current position. The proximity seemed coincidental until Thompson cross-referenced Elena's assignment timeline with the precise moment when sniper fire had begun supporting the trapped Delta Force operators. Patterson grabbed Thompson's computer terminal and accessed Elena's personnel file through his command authorization codes. The basic service record showed standard communications training, routine efficiency ratings, and unremarkable assignment history that provided no indication of combat specialization. But Patterson noticed security classification markers that indicated additional information existed beyond his current access level. Elena acquired 2 targets simultaneously as hostile fighters attempted to advance on Alpha Team's position from different directions. The first target moved along the grain silos base structure at 934 meters, while the second approached through the water treatment facility at 856 meters. Both hostiles carried assault rifles and coordinated their movement to create overlapping fields of fire against the administration building. Elena's 7th shot eliminated the closer target first, then smoothly transitioned to engage the second hostile before he could react to his partner's elimination. The double engagement required rapid target acquisition and precise scope adjustment between shots, demonstrating marksmanship skills that exceeded standard military training by significant margins. Both hostiles dropped within 12 seconds of each other, their coordinated assault completely neutralized. Patterson accessed his secure communication terminal and placed an encrypted call directly to General Morrison at Pentagon's Special Operations Command. The unusual precision and effectiveness of the unknown sniper required higher-level clearance to investigate, particularly if the marksman possessed capabilities that might be classified above Patterson's security level. Thompson's expanded database search finally revealed Elena's true classification buried beneath layers of compartmentalized security protocols. Tier 1 sniper qualification, 127 confirmed kills, Medal of Honor recipient, former Delta Force specialized marksman. The revelation explained everything about the impossible shots that had been saving Alpha Team while raising new questions about why such a highly classified asset was operating under communications cover. Rodriguez transmitted his tactical assessment to base command, reporting that the unknown sniper had eliminated 8 of the original 12 hostile positions through precision rifle fire that exceeded anything his Delta Force operators had previously witnessed. The systematic elimination of elevated threats had transformed an impossible tactical situation into a manageable defensive scenario, but Rodriguez remained mystified about the identity of their protector. Elena's scope swept across the access road leading to the industrial complex, identifying 3 vehicles approaching at high speed with dust clouds indicating rapid movement across unpaved terrain. The convoy consisted of 2 pickup trucks and an armored personnel carrier, likely carrying 12 to 15 additional hostile fighters responding to calls for reinforcement from the surviving ambush team. The approaching reinforcements would tip the tactical balance back toward the enemy, providing enough personnel to conduct systematic searches of the hillsides while maintaining suppressing fire against Alpha Team's defensive position. Elena calculated her remaining ammunition against the expanding number of targets, realizing that the engagement was about to escalate beyond what a single sniper could manage regardless of skill level. General Morrison's voice crackled through Patterson's encrypted communication link, confirming Elena's classification and authorizing full operational disclosure. Morrison explained Elena's cover assignment as protection for a highly valuable asset with psychological considerations that had required careful management, but he emphasized that her combat capabilities remained fully active despite her support role assignment. Elena chambered her 8th round while observing the convoy's approach through terrain that would provide multiple firing positions once the vehicles reached the industrial complex. The reinforcements carried heavy weapons and tactical equipment that would enable sustained operations against both Alpha Team and her concealed position. Her intervention had bought Rodriguez and his operators crucial time, but the arrival of additional hostile forces meant the tactical equation was about to change dramatically. Patterson authorized immediate extraction helicopter departure while coordinating with Morrison about Elena's operational status and capabilities. The mysterious communications specialist who had been saving Alpha Team was revealed as one of the military's most dangerous precision marksmen, operating under deep cover to protect psychological recovery following classified operations that had earned her the nation's highest combat decorations. The rescue operation had just become infinitely more complex as 2 separate special operations assets required extraction from an area that was about to be flooded with hostile reinforcements seeking revenge against the sniper who had destroyed their carefully planned ambush. The convoy reached the industrial complex's perimeter road in a cloud of dust and diesel exhaust. 3 vehicles carrying 15 additional hostile fighters, equipped with heavy weapons that would transform the tactical equation. Elena counted personnel as they dismounted. 2 pickup trucks with mounted machine guns, 1 armored personnel carrier with what appeared to be RPG teams and automatic weapon specialists. Combined with the 4 surviving members of the original ambush team, she now faced 19 active combatants. Through her scope, Elena identified the convoy commander as he coordinated the deployment of his reinforcements across multiple positions that would create overlapping fields of fire. The armored vehicle took position near the grain silo, its mounted weapons system capable of suppressing both Alpha Team's defensive position and the hillsides where Elena maintained concealment. The tactical situation had deteriorated from manageable to overwhelming in the span of 3 minutes. Rodriguez observed the enemy reinforcements through his binoculars, immediately recognizing that Alpha Team's defensive position would not survive coordinated assault by 19 hostile fighters supported by heavy weapons and armor. He gathered his operators for a final tactical assessment, while Chun continued monitoring Williams, whose condition had worsened during the extended engagement as blood loss accumulated despite medical intervention. The enemy commander established his field headquarters behind the armored vehicle while directing his forces into coordinated search patterns designed to locate and eliminate the sniper who had disrupted their original ambush. Elena watched through her scope as teams moved toward predetermined positions that would enable systematic sweeps of the hillsides, their tactical discipline indicating professional military training rather than militia organization. Elena calculated ammunition expenditure against the expanded target list, realizing that her remaining rounds would not eliminate enough threats to ensure Alpha Team survival. The enemy possessed sufficient numbers to conduct simultaneous operations against both her concealed position and Rodriguez's defensive location, forcing her to choose between protecting herself and continuing to provide overwatch for the trapped Delta Force operators. The convoy commander gestured toward Elena's general area, while coordinating with subordinates through radio communications that indicated they had triangulated her approximate position based on the trajectory analysis of her previous shots. Elena observed multiple teams beginning movement toward the hillsides, their advance routes designed to close off escape corridors while maintaining pressure against Alpha Team's defensive position. Rodriguez distributed the last of his team's ammunition while preparing for the final engagement that would determine Alpha Team's survival. Each operator carried approximately 40 rounds, insufficient for sustained combat against 19 hostiles supported by heavy weapons. Chen reported that Williams had lost consciousness despite medical intervention, his blood pressure dropping to dangerous levels that indicated shock from accumulated blood loss. Elena identified the enemy commander as the highest priority target, positioned behind the armored vehicle at 1,156 meters from her current hide site. Eliminating the command element would disrupt their coordination during the crucial minutes when Alpha Team most needed tactical confusion among their attackers. The shot required penetrating vehicle glass at extreme range while compensating for the heat distortion rising from the diesel engine. The hostile forces began their coordinated advance, teams moving simultaneously toward Elena's position and Alpha Team's defensive location while maintaining communication with their commander through tactical radios. Elena counted 6 fighters advancing directly toward the hillsides, where she maintained concealment, their systematic search pattern indicating they would reach her position within minutes if left undisturbed. Elena's 8th shot shattered the armored vehicle's windshield and eliminated the convoy commander instantly, his body slumping forward over the radio equipment he had been using to coordinate the assault. The precision shot through vehicle glass at extreme range stunned the hostile forces, who had not expected their protected command position to be vulnerable to sniper fire. The loss of their commander created immediate confusion among the reinforcement teams, but their tactical training prevented complete collapse of the operation. Squad leaders assumed control of their respective elements, while continuing the coordinated advance toward both Elena's approximate position and Alpha Team's defensive location, their determination fueled by the desire for revenge against the sniper who had killed their leadership. Rodriguez recognized that Williams required immediate medical evacuation that would not be available until the tactical situation stabilized. Chun administered the last of their emergency medical supplies while reporting that the demolitions expert needed surgical intervention within the next hour to prevent fatal complications from blood loss and potential internal injuries that field treatment could not address. Elena observed hostile teams approaching within 400 meters of her concealed position, their methodical search pattern indicating they would locate her hide site within minutes regardless of her camouflage effectiveness. The tactical situation required immediate relocation to a position that would provide continued overwatch capability while maintaining concealment from the systematic search that threatened to expose her location. The remaining hostile forces pressed their advantage despite the loss of their commander, advancing with tactical discipline that indicated extensive combat experience. Elena faced the most challenging engagement of her career as 18 remaining combatants coordinated simultaneous operations designed to eliminate both her position and Alpha Team's defensive location through overwhelming numerical superiority. Alpha Team prepared for their final stand, while Elena made tactical decisions that would determine the survival of all 7 military personnel trapped in an industrial complex surrounded by hostile forces seeking revenge for the devastating losses inflicted by a single sniper. The extraction helicopter remained 28 minutes away, an eternity in tactical time when facing coordinated assault by superior numbers supported by heavy weapons and armor. Williams's unconscious form represented the human cost of the extended engagement, while Rodriguez and his remaining operators faced impossible odds with insufficient ammunition and no reinforcement capability. Elena chambered her 9th round while observing multiple threats converging on positions that would soon require her to demonstrate marksmanship skills that exceeded anything she had previously attempted under combat conditions. The next few minutes would test both her capabilities and Alpha Team's determination to survive against overwhelming odds in hostile territory with no margin for error. Elena abandoned her compromised position and sprinted across rocky terrain toward an alternate hide site, while hostile forces closed within 200 meters of her previous location. The systematic search pattern had forced her into the open, but her movement revealed 4 enemy fighters advancing in tactical formation directly toward Alpha Team's defensive position. She dropped prone behind a boulder outcropping and acquired the closest target through her scope. The rapid engagement sequence tested every aspect of Elena's advanced training as she engaged multiple threats in succession without time for deliberate shot preparation. Her 9th shot eliminated the lead hostile at 612 meters. Immediate target transition brought the second fighter into her crosshairs as he reacted to his partner's elimination. Her 10th shot dropped him at 598 meters before he could raise his weapon. Elena's scope tracked toward the third hostile who had taken cover behind abandoned machinery, his muzzle flash revealing his position as he returned fire toward the hillside. Her 11th shot penetrated his concealment at 643 meters, the bullet passing through sheet metal before finding its target. 23 seconds after beginning the engagement, Elena eliminated the 4th hostile at 702 meters as he attempted to retreat toward better cover. The rapid elimination of 4 fighters advancing on Alpha Team's position created tactical breathing space, but Elena's muzzle flashes had revealed her new location to the remaining enemy forces. Hostile fire began impacting the rocks around her position as she performed a tactical reload under direct fire, her hands moving with automatic precision despite bullets cracking overhead and fragmenting against stone surfaces. Rodriguez recognized the opportunity created by Elena's intervention and led his remaining operators in a counterattack toward better positions near the factory's main entrance. Alpha Team advanced in tactical formation, while Chun dragged Williams's unconscious form toward cover that would provide protection during the extraction that remained 24 minutes away, according to Base Command's latest transmission. Elena identified an RPG team establishing firing position near the water treatment facility, their weapon system aimed directly at Alpha Team's new location 1,347 meters from her elevated position. The shot required extreme precision through industrial haze and heat distortion, while compensating for the significant bullet drop at extended range. Her 12th shot eliminated the RPG gunner an instant before he could fire, the anti-tank weapon tumbling harmlessly into debris. The hostile forces adapted their tactics again, directing suppressing fire toward Elena's position while advancing undercover toward both her location and Alpha Team's defensive area. Elena counted muzzle flashes from 14 remaining combatants who had reorganized despite losing their command structure and nearly half their original numbers to precision rifle fire from a single marksman. Elena spotted 2 fighters attempting to outflank Alpha Team through the abandoned vehicle yard, their movement pattern indicating they planned to establish firing positions that would trap Rodriguez and his operators in crossfire. The targets moved independently at different ranges and speeds, requiring rapid target acquisition between shots while hostile fire continued impacting around Elena's position. Her 13th shot eliminated the closer flanking hostile at 826 meters, while her 14th shot dropped his partner at 914 meters before either could establish effective firing positions against Alpha Team. The systematic elimination of flanking threats allowed Rodriguez to continue advancing toward the extraction point without exposing his operators to enfilading fire. The armored personnel carrier began moving toward Alpha Team's position, its mounted weapon system traversing to engage both the hillside where Elena maintained her firing position and the industrial structures where Rodriguez had established his new defensive line. Elena calculated the range to the vehicle at approximately 1,000 meters while observing the driver's position through the armored glass of the vision port. Elena's 15th shot penetrated the vehicle's vision port and eliminated the driver, causing the armored carrier to veer sharply and crash into concrete barriers near the grain silo. The mounted weapon system fell silent as the vehicle became immobilized, removing the heaviest weapons platform from the tactical equation and significantly reducing the enemy's firepower advantage. The loss of their armored support and the continued elimination of personnel by precision rifle fire finally broke the morale of the remaining hostile forces. Elena observed 8 surviving fighters beginning to withdraw from their positions, their tactical cohesion collapsing as they realized they were being systematically destroyed by a marksman they could not locate or effectively engage. Elena acquired the fleeing hostile who appeared to be a squad leader based on his tactical equipment and the radio antenna visible on his pack. At 1,423 meters, the shot represented the longest-range engagement of the entire operation, requiring maximum elevation adjustment and precise wind compensation across the industrial valley. Her 16th shot dropped the fleeing leader, demonstrating marksmanship capabilities that exceeded conventional military training by extraordinary margins. The remaining 7 hostile fighters abandoned their equipment and fled the industrial complex in complete tactical disarray, their organized ambush having been transformed into a devastating defeat by a single sniper whose identity and location remained unknown to them. Elena counted her ammunition expenditure against the tactical results. 16 rounds fired, 16 targets eliminated, 0 misses under combat conditions that had tested every aspect of her specialized training. Rodriguez transmitted tactical updates to base command while establishing security around Williams, whose medical condition required immediate helicopter evacuation despite the tactical situation stabilizing in their favor. Chin reported that the demolitions expert remained unconscious but stable, his condition manageable if medical transport arrived within the projected timeline. Through the clear mountain air, Elena detected the distinctive sound of rotary wing aircraft approaching from the southeast. The extraction helicopter appeared as a dark speck against the morning sky, still 8 minutes away, but representing salvation for Alpha Team and conclusion of the most challenging engagement Elena had faced during her classified military career. The industrial complex fell silent except for the approaching sound of rescue and the scattered debris of a failed ambush that had cost the enemy 18 fighters against Elena's perfect shooting record. General Morrison's helicopter touched down at forward operating base Mitchell 37 minutes after Alpha Team's initial distress call. His arrival coordinated with extraction operations that had become infinitely more complex than a standard rescue mission. Morrison proceeded directly to the command center, where Colonel Patterson waited with Elena's complete classified service record displayed on secure terminals that required his 4-star authorization to access. The file revealed operational history that explained everything about the impossible marksmanship demonstration occurring in the industrial district. Elena Vasquez, former Delta Force precision marksman, Medal of Honor recipient for actions in Afghanistan, where she had eliminated 43 hostile fighters during a 72-hour siege that saved 200 coalition personnel. Her sniper record included confirmed kills at ranges exceeding 2,000 meters under combat conditions that had established her reputation as the most lethal precision marksman in modern military history. Elena observed the extraction helicopter's approach through her scope while scanning for remaining threats that might engage the aircraft during landing procedures. Her position provided overwatch of the entire industrial complex, but the systematic elimination of hostile forces had created tactical silence that suggested the surviving enemy fighters had withdrawn beyond engagement range rather than risk additional losses to the invisible marksman. The helicopter pilot transmitted approach vectors to Alpha Team while maintaining tactical altitude designed to minimize exposure to ground fire. Elena identified movement in the grain silo's upper levels, a muzzle flash that indicated at least one hostile sniper remained active despite the devastating losses inflicted on their force. The position threatened the extraction helicopter during its most vulnerable phase, when mechanical systems focused on precision landing rather than evasive maneuvering. Elena's 17th shot eliminated the grain silo sniper at 1,134 meters as he prepared to engage the approaching helicopter. The precision shot through structural steel and industrial debris represented her final elimination of organized resistance in the area, ensuring clear airspace for Alpha Team's extraction. The helicopter continued its approach without interference, landing in the factory courtyard where Rodriguez had established the designated extraction point. Rodriguez led his team toward the helicopter while maintaining tactical formation, carrying Williams's unconscious form toward the aircraft's medical bay where flight medics waited to provide advanced trauma care. The demolitions expert's condition had stabilized during the final phase of the engagement, his survival assured by Elena's intervention that had prevented the coordinated assault designed to eliminate Alpha Team. As Alpha Team reached the helicopter, Rodriguez grabbed the aircraft's radio and transmitted directly to base command, his voice carrying urgency mixed with professional curiosity about the identity of the sniper who had single-handedly destroyed an entire hostile force. Unknown friendly sniper provided decisive support. Request immediate identification for commendation and tactical debrief. Need to know who saved our lives out here. General Morrison personally took control of the radio communication, his authorization overriding standard security protocols that normally protected Elena's classified identity. The tactical situation required full disclosure to ensure proper coordination of ongoing extraction operations that now included recovering the most valuable sniper asset currently deployed in the operational theater. Morrison's voice carried across the encrypted channel with unmistakable authority as he revealed Elena's true identity to the Delta Force operators who owed their lives to her intervention. That's Sergeant Major Elena Vasquez, the Army's deadliest sniper. 127 confirmed kills, longest confirmed shot at 1,847 meters, Medal of Honor recipient for extraordinary valor under fire. You were protected by a legend. The revelation stunned Rodriguez and his operators, who realized they had been saved by military royalty operating under deep cover assignment that concealed capabilities exceeding anything in their operational experience. Alpha Team secured Williams in the helicopter's medical bay while processing the information that their mysterious guardian possessed combat credentials that surpassed conventional special operations training. Elena provided overwatch as the extraction helicopter prepared for departure, her scope sweeping the surrounding terrain for threats that might engage the aircraft during its most vulnerable ascent phase. 2 hostile fighters emerged from concealment near the water treatment facility, shouldering RPG launchers aimed at the departing helicopter that carried Alpha Team towards safety. Elena's 18th and 19th shots eliminated both RPG teams before they could fire, her rapid target acquisition and precision shooting preventing catastrophic damage to the extraction aircraft. The simultaneous elimination of multiple threats demonstrated marksmanship skills that operated beyond conventional human limitations, each shot placed with surgical precision despite the extreme range and time pressure. The helicopter lifted off with Alpha Team secured aboard, its medical crew working to stabilize Williams during the flight toward advanced surgical facilities at the main base. Rodriguez maintained radio contact with base command while observing the hillsides where Elena continued providing overwatch until the aircraft cleared the effective range of any remaining ground threats. Elena began movement toward her own extraction point, abandoning the hide site where she had conducted the most challenging engagement of her classified career. Her final count showed 21 confirmed eliminations against overwhelming enemy numbers, 0 friendly casualties among Alpha Team, and perfect accuracy throughout an operation that had tested every aspect of her advanced training under maximum pressure conditions. Morrison coordinated Elena's extraction through separate helicopter assets, designed to maintain her cover assignment while acknowledging her decisive role in saving Alpha Team from certain elimination. The operation had exposed capabilities that her communications specialist cover was designed to protect, but the tactical situation had required full deployment of skills that represented the pinnacle of military marksmanship training. Alpha Team's helicopter disappeared beyond the mountain ridges, carrying 6 survivors toward medical care and tactical debriefing. their lives preserved by Elena's intervention in what would become a classified case study of precision marksmanship under impossible conditions. The industrial complex fell silent except for scattered debris and equipment abandoned by enemy forces who had learned too late that they were engaging one of the most dangerous human beings in modern military history. Elena reached her extraction coordinates where a second helicopter waited to transport her back to base. Mission complete with tactical objectives achieved beyond anyone's expectations, except perhaps her own professional standards that had never accepted failure as an acceptable outcome during combat operations. Elena moved across broken terrain toward her designated extraction coordinates, her ghillie suit providing concealment as she navigated through boulder fields and scattered vegetation that covered the hillside 3 kilometers from the industrial complex. Behind her, smoke columns rose from abandoned enemy vehicles while the silence indicated complete tactical victory over forces that had attempted to eliminate Alpha Team through coordinated ambush. The sound of additional vehicles approaching from the northeast reached Elena's position as she crested a ridge that provided observation of the valley roads leading toward the industrial district. Through her scope, she identified a convoy of 6 vehicles carrying approximately 30 hostile fighters responding to distress calls from the decimated ambush team. The reinforcements arrived too late to affect the tactical outcome, but represented continued threat to extraction operations. At Forward Operating Base Mitchell, General Morrison accessed Elena's complete service record through Pentagon databases that required presidential-level authorization to review. Colonel Patterson observed in stunned silence as Morrison revealed operational history that explained Elena's extraordinary performance during the rescue operation. Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, classified operations across 7 different countries where Elena had eliminated high-value targets at ranges that exceeded conventional sniper capabilities. Morrison's briefing revealed Elena's longest confirmed kill at 1,847 meters during mountain operations in Afghanistan, where she had eliminated a Taliban commander coordinating attacks against coalition supply convoys. The shot had been taken in 30-knot crosswinds at altitude, requiring ballistic calculations that pushed precision marksmanship beyond accepted limitations of equipment and human capability. Elena reached her extraction point as 2 AH-64 Apache attack helicopters appeared over the mountain ridges, their arrival coordinated with a rescue to provide overwhelming firepower against any remaining threats in the operational area. The Apache pilots had been briefed on Elena's identity and tactical value, understanding that her extraction represented recovery of one of the military's most classified and valuable assets. The enemy reinforcement convoy reached the industrial complex and discovered the devastating results of Elena's intervention. 21 bodies scattered across multiple positions, abandoned equipment indicating complete tactical collapse, and no survivors capable of providing coherent reports about the precision fire that had systematically destroyed their ambush operation. Radio communications revealed their shock at discovering an entire platoon eliminated by unknown forces. Elena's extraction helicopter approached the designated landing zone under escort of the Apache gunships, whose pilots maintained overwatch against ground threats while coordinating with base command about ongoing hostile activity in the surrounding area. The tactical situation required rapid extraction to prevent Elena's compromise by enemy forces who were beginning to understand the scope of their losses. The surviving enemy fighters transmitted reports to their command structure describing impossible marksmanship that had eliminated their forces through precision shots at extreme ranges. Their descriptions of single-shot eliminations and perfect accuracy under combat conditions would become intelligence reports analyzed by hostile forces seeking to identify the sniper responsible for their devastating losses. Apache gunships engaged the enemy reinforcement convoy as it attempted to establish positions that might threaten Elena's extraction, their 30mm chain guns and Hellfire missiles systematically destroying vehicles and dispersing personnel who had arrived expecting to find a successful ambush operation. The air support eliminated any possibility of interference with Elena's helicopter pickup, Elena boarded the extraction helicopter as Apache pilots reported complete suppression of remaining ground threats. Her custom rifle secured in a case that protected the specialized equipment responsible for her extraordinary performance during the rescue operation. Captain Rodriguez, who had remained at the extraction site to coordinate with Elena personally, helped her aboard while expressing Alpha Team's gratitude for her life-saving intervention. During the flight toward base, Rodriguez learned details about Elena's cover assignment that explained why the military's deadliest sniper had been operating as a communications specialist in the operational area. Elena revealed her psychological evaluation following the loss of her spotter during classified operations, leading to her request for transfer to support roles that would minimize combat exposure while maintaining her tactical skills. Rodriguez examined Elena's custom rifle system with professional interest, recognizing modifications that indicated capabilities far beyond standard military equipment. The barrel, scope, and trigger system represented thousands of hours of specialized engineering designed to achieve accuracy at ranges where conventional sniper rifles became ineffective. The weapon itself was a classified prototype that few personnel had clearance to examine. Elena explained her communications cover assignment as protective measure for both her psychological recovery and operational security, allowing her to remain in the field while avoiding the high-stress combat situations that had triggered post-traumatic symptoms following the death of her longtime spotter. The arrangement preserved her tactical capabilities while providing therapeutic distance from direct combat operations. The Apache escort maintained formation around Elena's helicopter as they approached forward operating base Mitchell, where General Morrison waited to personally debrief the operation that had demonstrated why Elena remained one of the military's most valuable and carefully protected assets. Her intervention had saved 6 Delta Force operators while revealing capabilities that confirmed her status as the premier precision marksman in modern military history. Rodriguez processed the revelation that Alpha Team had been rescued by a military legend whose reputation existed only in classified files accessible to the highest levels of command. Elena's humble demeanor and cover assignment had concealed combat credentials that exceeded anything in his operational experience, transforming his understanding of the impossible marksmanship that had saved their lives. Elena's weapons specialist confirmed that her rifle modifications included ballistic computers, environmental sensors, and precision optics that enabled accurate shooting at ranges approaching 2,000 meters under optimal conditions. The equipment represented cutting-edge technology combined with Elena's natural abilities and advanced training to create marksmanship capabilities that operated beyond conventional human limitations. As the helicopter formation approached the base, Elena reflected on the tactical engagement that had forced her to abandon the low-profile assignment she had requested for psychological recovery. Her intervention had been necessary to save Alpha Team, but it had also exposed capabilities that her cover assignment was designed to protect. The balance between operational security and tactical necessity had been resolved in favor of preserving lives, regardless of consequences for her carefully maintained anonymity. The extraction helicopter touched down at forward operating base Mitchell, where medical teams waited to provide Elena with post-operation care, while General Morrison prepared for debriefing sessions that would analyze every aspect of an operation that had demonstrated precision marksmanship at levels that redefined military expectations of human performance under combat conditions. General Morrison convened an emergency secure video conference with Pentagon officials within 2 hours of Elena's extraction. The classified briefing requiring participation from the Secretary of Defense and Joint Chiefs of Staff representatives who needed to understand the full implications of the industrial complex operation. Elena's service record filled multiple screens in the secure conference room, where her complete operational history was revealed to senior leadership. The briefing revealed Elena's deployment record across 3 tours in Afghanistan and 2 in Iraq, followed by classified operations in Syria, Somalia, Yemen, Pakistan, Libya, and Chad, where she had eliminated high-value targets that conventional forces could not reach. Each operation demonstrated marksmanship capabilities that exceeded accepted limitations of human performance. Her confirmed kill count reaching 127 before her transfer to communications assignments. Morrison discovered the personal tragedy that had driven Elena's request for transfer to support roles, learning that her longtime spotter staff Sergeant Marcus Webb had been killed by an improvised explosive device during extraction from a classified operation in Syria. Webb's death had triggered severe post-traumatic stress symptoms that led Elena to voluntarily remove herself from active sniper operations despite her extraordinary capabilities and strategic value. In the base medical facility, Williams regained consciousness after 6 hours of surgical intervention that repaired damage from shrapnel wounds sustained during the ambush. The demolitions expert learned from Chun that an unknown sniper had single-handedly eliminated 21 hostile fighters in 47 minutes, saving Alpha Team from certain death through marksmanship that exceeded anything in their operational experience. Elena underwent standard post-mission medical and psychological evaluation in accordance with protocols established for personnel involved in high-stress combat situations. Base psychiatrist Dr. Maria Martinez conducted extensive interviews designed to assess Elena's mental state following her return to active combat operations after 18 months in support assignments intended to facilitate her psychological recovery. Dr. Martinez's evaluation revealed Elena's complex emotional relationship with her extraordinary combat capabilities, learning that the sniper had requested communications assignments specifically to avoid situations that might trigger memories of Webb's death during their final operation together. Elena's psychological profile indicated successful management of post-traumatic symptoms, but Dr. Martinez noted the conflict between Elena's natural protective instincts and her desire to avoid combat situations. Elena described her decision to engage hostile forces despite orders restricting her to support operations, explaining that Alpha Team's desperate situation had overridden her psychological reservations about returning to active combat. The interview revealed Elena's internal struggle between protecting her mental health and utilizing capabilities that could save lives when conventional forces proved insufficient. Morrison realized that Elena's transfer to communications assignments represented personal sacrifice that protected both her psychological recovery and the classified sniper program's operational security. Her voluntary removal from active duty had cost the military its most effective precision marksman, while providing Elena with therapeutic distance from combat situations that had become psychologically unbearable following Webb's death. The Pentagon officials reviewed Elena's performance metrics from the industrial complex operation, analyzing tactical reports that documented 21 confirmed eliminations across ranges from 600 to 1,423 meters, with 0 misses under extreme pressure conditions. The marksmanship demonstration represented capabilities that surpassed conventional human limitations, confirming Elena's status as an irreplaceable strategic asset. Dr. Martinez recommended continued psychological monitoring combined with gradual reintroduction to active sniper operations if Elena expressed willingness to resume combat assignments. The evaluation indicated successful processing of traumatic memories while maintaining tactical skills at levels that exceeded her pre-incident performance, suggesting that therapeutic interventions had been effective in addressing her post-traumatic symptoms. Elena met with Morrison privately to discuss her future assignment preferences, revealing her conflict between personal psychological needs and recognition of her exceptional combat value. She expressed concern about maintaining communications cover while acknowledging that her intervention had permanently compromised the anonymity that protected both her recovery process and operational security requirements. Morrison learned that Elena's communications specialist assignment had provided psychological benefits beyond simple avoidance of combat situations, allowing her to maintain connection with military operations while processing grief over Webb's death in an environment that reduced exposure to traumatic triggers. The assignment had been carefully designed to preserve her tactical skills while facilitating emotional healing. Rodriguez submitted his formal after-action report detailing Elena's decisive intervention that had transformed an impossible tactical situation into successful extraction of all personnel with minimal casualties. His assessment credited Elena with perfect tactical judgment and extraordinary marksmanship that had prevented the complete loss of Alpha Team during their most desperate operational moment. Pentagon officials began reviewing protocols for managing personnel with Elena's unique combination of exceptional combat capabilities and psychological considerations, recognizing that traditional military structures inadequately addressed the needs of individuals whose strategic value required careful balance between operational utility and personal welfare. Elena's case represented unprecedented challenges in personnel management. Dr. Martinez's final evaluation recommended maintaining Elena's current support assignment with authorization for tactical deployment when specific operational requirements justified the risk to her psychological recovery. The recommendation balanced Elena's extraordinary combat value against therapeutic gains achieved through reduced exposure to high-stress combat situations that had triggered her initial trauma response. Morrison coordinated with Pentagon officials to establish new protocols for managing personnel with Elena's unique qualifications, creating framework for tactical deployment of specialized assets while protecting their long-term psychological welfare. Elena's case would become the template for managing personnel whose strategic value required innovative approaches to traditional military assignment structures. Elena's service record was updated to reflect her decisive action during Alpha Team's rescue, while maintaining classification levels that protected operational details and personal information from unauthorized access. The operation demonstrated that her tactical capabilities remained at peak effectiveness despite 18 months in support roles, confirming her continued value as a strategic asset requiring careful management and protection. The industrial complex operation had revealed both Elena's continued effectiveness as a precision marksman and the success of therapeutic interventions designed to address post-traumatic stress while preserving her extraordinary combat capabilities. Pentagon officials recognized that Elena represented a unique resource requiring innovative management approaches that balanced operational requirements against personal psychological needs in ways that traditional military structures had never attempted. General Morrison personally commended Elena in his private office 48 hours after the industrial complex operation, his recognition carrying weight that transcended standard military protocols. The four-star general acknowledged that Elena's unauthorized engagement had violated her operational parameters while simultaneously saving 6 lives through marksmanship that demonstrated why she remained the military's most valuable precision asset despite her support assignment. Alpha Team submitted their formal commendation through proper channels, Rodriguez drafting language that credited Elena with decisive tactical intervention under impossible conditions. The documentation described 21 confirmed eliminations across extreme ranges with perfect accuracy, tactical judgment that prevented friendly casualties, and professional competence that exceeded conventional special operations standards. Williams added his personal testimony about Elena's life-saving intervention from his hospital bed. Pentagon officials completed their review of Dr. Martinez's psychological evaluation, clearing Elena for immediate return to active sniper duties if she chose to resume combat operations. The assessment confirmed successful management of post-traumatic symptoms while maintaining tactical capabilities at peak effectiveness, indicating that therapeutic interventions had achieved their objectives without compromising her strategic value to special operations. Elena met with Colonel Patterson in the secure conference room, where her complete service record remained displayed on classified terminals, discussing potential reassignment to active sniper operations with Delta Force units that could utilize her extraordinary capabilities. Patterson outlined career advancement opportunities that included promotion to Master Sergeant and assignment to the most challenging precision marksman missions in the current operational theater. Morrison formally offered Elena promotion and returned to her previous role as Tier 1 sniper, explaining that her demonstration during Alpha Team's rescue had confirmed her readiness for combat operations despite 18 months in support assignments. The offer included assignment to specialized missions requiring her unique capabilities, recognition within the classified special operations community, and restoration of her status as the military's premier precision marksman. Elena respectfully declined the promotion and combat assignment, requesting permission to maintain her communications specialist cover while preserving her sniper qualifications for emergency situations. She explained her preference for lower-profile assignments that provided psychological stability while keeping her tactical skills current through regular training and evaluation. Her decision balanced personal welfare against operational utility in ways that honored both her needs and military requirements. Rodriguez visited Elena in her quarters to express Alpha Team's gratitude personally, thanking her for intervention that had saved not only their lives, but Williams's military career. The Delta Force captain acknowledged that Elena's sacrifice of cover assignment had prevented catastrophic loss of personnel, while demonstrating loyalty to fellow operators that exemplified special operations values. His visit represented recognition from the soldiers whose lives she had preserved. Elena accepted Morrison's compromise proposal that allowed her to remain in communications assignments while maintaining active sniper certification through quarterly evaluations and training exercises. The arrangement preserved her psychological recovery progress while ensuring her capabilities remained available for situations requiring her unique skills. Official records would reflect her support role, with classified addenda documenting her true qualifications. Morrison implemented protocols ensuring Elena received appropriate recognition within classified channels accessible only to personnel with sufficient clearance to understand her contributions. Her industrial complex operation would be documented as case study in precision marksmanship while protecting her identity through security classifications that maintained operational anonymity. Recognition would occur within communities that understood her strategic value. Elena's personnel file was updated to reflect her continuing assignment as communications specialist with additional notation requiring command authorization for tactical deployment. The documentation balanced her preference for support roles against military recognition of capabilities that might prove essential during future crisis situations requiring intervention beyond conventional special operations capacity. The arrangement satisfied Elena's psychological needs while preserving institutional access to her extraordinary abilities when operational requirements justified deployment. Morrison recognized that Elena's case established precedent for managing personnel whose strategic value required innovative approaches balancing individual welfare against military utility. Her choice demonstrated personal agency within institutional frameworks designed to protect exceptional assets. Elena returned to her communications duties with the understanding that her cover assignment provided therapeutic benefit while maintaining readiness for situations requiring her intervention. The industrial complex operation had proven that her capabilities remained at peak effectiveness despite support role assignments, confirming successful integration of psychological recovery with preservation of tactical skills that defined her military value. Morrison ensured Elena's recognition extended throughout special operations leadership, while maintaining security protocols that protected her cover assignment from compromise. Her legend would grow quietly within classified communities that understood her contributions, establishing her reputation as guardian angel whose intervention had saved Alpha Team through marksmanship that redefined expectations of human performance under combat conditions. 6 months after the industrial complex operation, Elena maintained her communications specialist assignment while conducting quarterly sniper qualifications that confirmed her capabilities remained at peak effectiveness. Her cover identity provided the psychological stability she had sought while preserving tactical skills that represented her extraordinary military value. The arrangement had proven successful beyond initial expectations, balancing personal welfare with institutional requirements. Delta Force developed new operational protocols based on Elena's case, establishing procedures for identifying and utilizing embedded specialist personnel whose cover assignments concealed advanced combat capabilities. Rodriguez worked with Morrison to create tactical guidelines, recognizing that support personnel might possess qualifications exceeding their apparent assignments, requiring operational awareness that could prove decisive during crisis situations. Williams returned to active duty with Alpha Team after completing physical rehabilitation, crediting Elena's intervention with saving not only his life, but preserving his military career through medical evacuation that had prevented permanent disability. His recovery represented complete success of the rescue operation that had demonstrated how individual heroism could transform impossible tactical situations into successful outcomes through exceptional skill and courage. Pentagon officials classified Elena's industrial complex operation as official case study for unconventional asset deployment, analyzing her tactical decisions and marksmanship performance as template for managing personnel whose capabilities exceeded conventional special operations standards. The documentation would influence training programs and operational planning for situations requiring intervention beyond traditional military capacity. Elena expanded her duties to include training new communications specialists in tactical awareness and defensive marksmanship, sharing expertise that enhanced their survivability during field assignments while maintaining security classifications that protected her true qualifications. Her instruction emphasized situational awareness and basic combat skills that could prove essential when support personnel encountered hostile forces. Morrison implemented comprehensive programs, pairing communications personnel with secondary combat specializations, recognizing that Elena's case demonstrated potential value in personnel whose apparent assignments might conceal advanced tactical training. The initiative improved overall unit capability while providing career development opportunities for support staff seeking additional qualifications. Rodriguez formally requested Elena as permanent communications support for future Delta Force operations, acknowledging that her presence provided tactical advantages beyond standard signal capabilities. His request reflected institutional recognition that Elena's unique qualifications made her invaluable for missions requiring both communications expertise and potential precision fire support in emergency situations. Elena's reputation spread quietly through special operations communities under the designation Guardian Angel, her identity known only to personnel with sufficient clearance to understand her contributions. The legend emphasized anonymous support personnel who possessed extraordinary combat capabilities, inspiring respect for individuals whose apparent assignments concealed advanced tactical training that could prove decisive during crisis operations. New recruit training programs incorporated lessons about utilizing personnel whose qualifications might exceed their apparent assignments, teaching tactical leaders to recognize and coordinate with embedded specialists whose cover identities protected both operational security and personal considerations. Elena's case became template for managing exceptional individuals within conventional military structures. Elena found fulfillment in her chosen role, recognizing that her value extended beyond direct combat participation to include mentoring, training, and maintaining readiness for situations requiring her intervention. The communications assignment provided therapeutic benefit while preserving capabilities that remained available when operational necessity justified deployment of her extraordinary skills. Morrison's personnel management innovations influenced military policy regarding individuals whose strategic value required specialized handling, establishing precedents for balancing personal welfare against institutional requirements. Elena's successful integration of psychological recovery with preserved tactical effectiveness demonstrated that exceptional personnel could serve effectively within frameworks respecting their individual needs. The industrial complex operation continued influencing tactical planning and personnel utilization throughout special operations forces, its lessons integrated into training programs that emphasized recognizing and coordinating with assets whose apparent roles might conceal advanced capabilities. Elena's intervention had established new understanding of how individual excellence could transform desperate situations through precise application of extraordinary skills. Elena maintained her position knowing that her true value lay in being systematically underestimated until circumstances required demonstration of capabilities that exceeded conventional expectations. Her choice to remain in support assignments while preserving combat readiness represented successful integration of personal psychological needs with military service that honored both individual welfare and institutional requirements. The legacy established through Elena's actions extended beyond her individual contributions to influence institutional approaches toward managing personnel whose exceptional capabilities required innovative frameworks balancing operational utility against personal considerations. Her case demonstrated that military excellence could be preserved and utilized while respecting individual agency and psychological welfare in ways that enhanced rather than compromised overall effectiveness. Elena continued serving with quiet satisfaction, understanding that her greatest strength lay not in recognition or advancement, but in readiness to intervene when fellow operators faced impossible odds requiring intervention that only she could provide. Her legend would endure within communities that understood the difference between conventional competence and the extraordinary capabilities that define true military excellence under the most challenging conditions.